Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Doing some work in the fruit orchard today. I'm taking these tree guards down that we use to protect the trees from the deer and everything. Cutting the weeds out so the trees don't have to compete with the weeds for the sunlight and the moisture when it rains. There's a light breeze, but I went in and got the camera. I started this project this morning, got the first couple of rows finished, and then my beautiful bride, Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, was going out for a mountain bike ride. I wanted to go with her, so I stopped. Went out and biked for about an hour. Maybe we covered 10 miles. It's kind of a hilly course. So she's inside all worn out because she can't keep up with her husband that's 14 years older than her. I viewed the bike ride as a warm-up to come out and continue my yard work. So I've been doing that, but I'm sensing that sixth sense is telling me I'm being watched. I don't know if it's from back here. There's a pond back here that goes up in front of the house, and then there's woods along the side, or if it's potentially from a huge foul-smelling, unkempt, hairy beast that's hideously ugly up here on this side of the privacy hedge, committing an act of voyeurism. What creature could I be describing? Get my 6. I'm just going to continue to do the work I'm doing here in the orchard. I'm going to keep the camera running. I'm going to do my best to stay out of your way. If you see or hear anything, timestamp it so others can take a look too, okay? It helps when you actually have your tools and water. If you go outside and do anything, stay hydrated. I'm gonna give you a closer view from a different angle because it appears as if him, her, it, or they is backed up a little bit. In the fruit orchard looking great. Some of the trees, see there, getting the weeds down. Leave the sun and the rain for the, oh, look at that beautiful bumblebee. Hi, girl. That's a big one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I gotta leave the sun and the moisture for the trees. So let's see, get you set up here. Watch up there, that's it. Now, listen closely here too, because we're right up against a privacy hedge. On the other side of which many folks have claimed to see in these videos, a large, hairy, unkempt, smelly, foul, like creature, okay? But up here in between the limbs of these trees is actually the woods in our campground. I just detected movement up here, and this is why I've changed the camera angle, brought it here for you to see up here. Watch in that area. Oh wow, here's a giant spider. You gotta see this thing. Come here, get on my shears, giant spider. Come here, come here. Come here. Where'd you go? Here you are, come here. Look at this. Come here, I don't wanna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. Just get on my shears so I can show the camera. Oh, come here. Get on my shears. Here, I'm not gonna hurt you. Get on there. Gosh, look at this thing. I'm gonna have to pick you up like a crazy guy, huh? Here, just don't bite me, huh? I don't know, you're too big for me to trust that. Come here. I'll move the camera. Come here, look at this guy. He's huge. Look at that. Come here, move, giant spider. Look at that. Look how big he is. He's the size of my watch. Look at that. Look at that giant spider. All right. Well, there's one big giant monster we've seen, a big old monster spider. All right. Shoo, you go to the privacy hedge. I don't want to hurt you. Go, go, go. All right, I just flipped him into the privacy hedge, so he's going to live, or she. It's probably a big female. The spiders will eat the fruit flies trying to steal my plums, brah. It's a plum tree. There. This could be, ooh, big ant's nest. I don't want to spend too much time here. Now I know why that big spider was here. I get so sidetracked. I know we're supposed to be looking for a potential Bigfoot Sasquatch that may or may not live in the woods behind my house. I absolutely love these plum trees, these American plum trees. Another reason for keeping water, not just for hydration, but the pollen is so thick. It keeps going in my throat. One of the ways in which American plum trees propagate is from their root system. They will grow new baby trees just a couple feet away from the parent plant. Comes up. I hate to cut them down, but before I've gotten to this part, I think it was about a week ago, I dug up more than 2 dozen of these from the root and took them up into our pasture, or our not a pasture, it's now a meadow. And I found some spots where there was plenty of space for trees, but where there were no trees, and I planted. So this way we'll have fruit producing trees all the way up through the meadow too. They're everywhere. So if you get one of these plum trees and just plant it, you can go out the next year and every year after that and get as many baby trees for free off of it that you're willing to dig up from the roots. American plum tree, indigenous to the state of Virginia. right, look, I'm going to give you a final view of this thing when I'm done with all the work because it's going to be so beautiful. The fruit orchard with all the weeds gone from the trees. But I just clearly heard something large move through the forest. It sounded like it jumped from one massive tree limb to the other. And we recently had some very odd activity associated with such things. So I'm going to move the camera. You're not going to be able to see me at all. You're going to see the pond. I want you to watch the forest up here. Ooh, there went a lizard. Ooh, all the fish are jumping because they think I'm here to feed them. And there's a big turtle over there on the bank. There's another turtle. I feed the turtles too, I guess. But look, I'm going to give you a view of the pond. But pay particular attention up here. I heard something jumping from one large limb to another. And then just like that, we're finished. Good way to spend the morning. Of course, we took an hour off to go mountain biking with our beautiful bride, aka Giggly Girl, my wife dearly. But now, it's beautiful trees that are covered in fruit. It's not big yet, it's still late May. But they not all of them have fruit, most of them do. Privacy hedge is doing great. We got honeysuckles in here. Love how it smells. But now they don't have to compete with the weeds for the light and the moisture when it rains. Let's see, I want to show you something. I told you earlier about how, see, here's some more that were coming up from the roots. These are plum trees. I cut them down. I hate to do that, but see, I dug up a bunch the other day, and you can see I filled in the holes where I dug them up with dirt. This is an example, though. A couple of years ago, this one just started growing up off of the roots of either this one or this one. We let that one grow because this is where most of the water flows off after the rain. Might be kind of thick here, but as you can see, still producing fruit. These are little baby plums. Gonna have so many plums. So many of our plum trees are growing plums this year. All right, so here we go. Oh yeah, this one. I think I'm gonna have to come in here and do some surgery on this tree. It was forked right here, but in its youth, the deer, plural, same word, got a hold of this and broke off a limb. Well, this part of the fork kept growing. I was hoping maybe this one would come out, but it didn't. But I might have to come and cut this one off here, let the rootstock take over. So if you're watching, you know anything about trees, tell me what you would do, because I don't think this is going to end well. I don't think there's any way in which this can end well. I think it'll overweight that. So anyway, so beautiful. I wanted to point this out too. For those of you who have fruit trees and you're new to it and you don't really know what's going on, you come around, you see something like this, you see all these little peaches, all these tiny little peaches. It's like, oh no, something's wrong with my peach tree. What's wrong with my peach tree? Why is it dropping off all these peaches before they mature and ripen? There's absolutely nothing wrong with your peach tree. I'm going to tell you what's going on here. As you can see, well, let me find some that's close enough to the phone to show you. All right, I'm going to have to zoom in. Let me put these down. Look, there's still plenty of peaches on this peach tree, and as you can tell, they're healthy, they're doing well, they will mature and ripen. There's going to be plenty of peaches to eat. There's some really big ones up there. I don't know if you can see them in the phone. Those are super big. So here's what's going on. Whether it's a fruit-bearing tree or a nut-bearing tree, the tree will actually abort these. This is the proper term to use, because what happened is the blossoms that formed these peaches were not pollinated by pollinators. So the tree knows that the seeds in here are sterile and they will not go on to produce another tree. So the tree will just naturally abort those unfertilized pieces of fruit or nuts. If it's a nut tree, our walnut trees do this too, and so do yours, because it only wants to use its energy to support the fruit or the nuts, if it's a nut-bearing tree, the blossoms of which were successfully pollinated by the pollinators. And it has nothing to do with the people or the animals that's going to eat the fruit or the nut. It doesn't care about that. This is nature. The only thing anything in nature cares about, despite what human beings want to tell themselves, is the continuation of their species. This tree knows that the peaches that remain, it will allow to remain because they were pollinated by the pollinators. Ton of peaches up there. Those peaches can drop, and those seeds will produce another tree. That's all this tree cares about. It doesn't care about your fruit or the deer's fruit. And that which is pretty much not going to be productive, it'll get rid of. It's not going to waste its time. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's have a look. Of course, there's a banana tree. The banana tree will not produce fruit. We put these here because my wife's from the Philippines and I lived over there for half a dozen years, and there were banana trees everywhere, and we loved the sight of banana trees. It makes her feel like home and makes me feel, remember my home away from home. That's our second home. Beautiful pond, beautiful forest. I tell you, some of these trees are big enough to where these guards are not going to go back on. I'm going to go around and put the tree guards back on the majority of the trees, but some of these, what we'll do, because the deer, that comes around and chews on some of these leaves, big deal. That's not going to hurt the tree yet. Here's a peach, is obviously the pollinated. These trees are so big now, the deer aren't going to get them. But what we will do is come around in the fall and put something here to protect these trees from being rubbed up by the bucks. But isn't that beautiful? Now the driveway is lined with plum trees instead of plum trees and weeds. Isn't that beautiful? The only question that remains unanswered is, as we look at this beautiful weeping willow tree that started out as a cutting, the only question is, and as I zoom in on our campground, there's our tent. So what in the world was that? We may never know. Whether we figure it out or not. See you here for more next time.